Welcome to the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
And how the hell are you guys? Happy Thursday. Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yes, indeed. We got the Diet Coke going and mysterious liquids in this cup.
I've had coffee. Lots of coffee.
We're in trouble. I hope everyone's doing great. We have a wonderful show for you guys tonight.
As always.
Wanted to give a real quick shout out to our buddy, Nathaniel J. Gillis, who was up and staying with us for a few days. And it was great to see you, Nathaniel, who is the host of a new show on YouTube. And I'm not going to tell you when it's on. It's called Ghost Notes. And it's on maybe right now. If you're scrolling to YouTube or got different pages up, feel free to check out our buddy Nate and Ghost Notes.
Nathaniel J. Gillis.
Yeah, it's part of Leak Project. It's going to be quite the show. So it's pretty cool. And we're really excited for him. That's awesome. And what else? Oh, geez, we've been real busy. It's been a crazy week. And Daniel up and went out to dinner with James Anito and Celine, getting ready to have a baby. And it started the Dominion Ministries project. Very interesting. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen that on Facebook. And big shout out to those guys if they're watching. How's it going? We went out to the Twin Oaks, which is like Rhode Island's oldest functional restaurant that's owned by the same family.
Right.
So I guess there's a couple that are like a little bit older, but yeah, it was really good.
My mom went there when she was a kid. My grandparents took her there. So there you go.
That's right. That's right. I used to go as a kid. Not that I'm as old as your mom.
Right.
But
me too. Yeah. And I didn't realize.
Well, my parents brought me and they were as old as your mom.
We already have a comment from Mr. Greg Koss.
Mr. Greg Koss.
Oh, yeah.
How we doing tonight?
Yes, Doug.
Hey, there you go. And your pretty guest. Yes, and we're going to bring her right on and get two things. I see, where's Ann? Doug says.
She's coming. We have to do a little intro.
Patience, my man. But let me tell you a little bit about her, and we'll bring her right on. Anne-Marie Young is a lover of all things spiritual and paranormal, astrology, numerology, tarot, oracle cards, scrying, candle magic, etc. She doesn't like labels. She feels they put you in a box, and I would agree with that.
We agree.
If she had to label herself, she would consider herself extremely sensitive to all things. She firmly believes that she has the mind, body, and old soul of an intuitive empath. And or maybe that of a crone witch. So that's interesting. And maybe that I'm sorry. She runs a small Facebook group of like-minded folk, and that is, of course, Rising of the Phoenix. And we've got that down in the ticker. And if you listen to this, you got to look up Rising of the Phoenix on Facebook. And there's a fantastic group. And if you're lucky enough, you'll be allowed to enter
into
that part of the interwebs. She asks the universe questions, and sometimes for help, and her guides always direct her forward and help her find the right vibrations and energy to accomplish whatever task she is faced with. She's all about sharing love and humor. She likes to help others help themselves and become the best version of themselves. She's is in no competition with anyone or anything. She wants us all to succeed in everything we do for the highest good. And let's bring her right on. Welcome, Ann.
Hello.
How is it
going?
The car. See, yeah, there's a little bit of New England still left in you. I heard that slip out.
I have never.
Not in New England now.
I have never lost the accent.
Where does it go, right? It just stays with you.
Yeah, especially if I go back and visit.
That's right. You come back with it.
That's right. You're originally from New England, and you were friends with Kristen.
Yes, well, actually,
I was.
Actually, your sister married my cousin. So we've been family since we were kids.
Yeah.
And we went to school together.
That's right.
Junior high and high school. And
And her other cousins.
That's right. And here we are now, all these years later. Oddly enough.
I know.
Like minds, just paths continue to cross, right? And
that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's how we feel. And I think it's great. maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you got started, what your childhood was like, and like, did you have any experiences that you would call psychic, paranormal, something that falls into ufology, whatever it is, something that was different about your childhood?
What people would call pareidolia, like when you talk, I'm always seeing faces. I see them everywhere. It used to scare me when I was little. I can remember having my older brothers and sisters have to stand outside the door because I would not go to sleep because every time I was alone, it was like, hello, you know, coming out from everywhere. Everywhere I looked, I'd have my eyes closed. I'd be scared. And one of my sisters and my brother used to tease me all the time. I was crazy, crazy imagination. Yeah, I sure did. I had imaginary friends. They were trees and rocks, but they were my friends. I couldn't get people to, you know, yeah, I was the crazy one.
You weren't crazy.
But you weren't crazy.
No, but that's the thing. The older I get, I see that.
What you're referring to is pareidolia, and pareidolia is like a scientific name for the way that humans, or it is thought that, because there's no real evidence of this, that humans as a tribe, when we were hunter-gatherers, would have to make out faces and things to know, what the other tribe was thinking. Like, are they going to kill me? Are they going to, cannibalize this tribe? Yeah, exactly. Fight or flight, that sort of thing. But then you can take a look at something like aromancy, which is divination through looking at the clouds. And what is the real difference between that, right? So if you put your
asking
mind
the question,
you're asking the question, you're putting the intention out there.
Asking the question, you put the intention out, you take a picture, and the things that come back in them pictures, like, make your heart flutter. Like, that can't be a coincidence.
That's right.
Not everything means something, but you'd be, what is, real and what is, are you crazy? Nope.
No.
That's right. And we agree with you because I think there is something to that. And certainly, how you take that on an instinctual gut instinct level, may very well mean something when you were divining at that point. So as a child, you often saw faces and they scared you, but you became used to them more as an adult. Did anything else happen? Were the invisible friends? Were they, how close were they? I had invisible enemies myself. So
both of us did.
I've always, like, when I go places, I feel things. I feel if there was a fight there beforehand. I feel if I sense the energy, I guess you could say. I know, and I've been a lot of different places, and joke. I don't need the EVPs. I don't need the monitors to know I'm not alone. But I can also send them away by, filling myself with light and then spreading the light, not seeing it, not giving it my energy. And that's what I try to teach other people. When something, don't give it your energy. The more energy you give something, the bigger it becomes. So I don't even look at it, pretend it's not there. Before I even knew what it was, I used to make stars and put them in circles. Before I even knew that was, yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Like a pentagram, right.
Right. That was always been my protection, a star and a circle. Before I even knew what it was, I can remember making sigils, and not even realizing that's what I was doing, when I was younger. It's just different things. I've never been, I'm eclectic. I don't follow any one path. I go with the flow. The world is always changing. And if you don't ride the waves, you sink or swim, or that's about it.
Some comments out
Hi,
there.
Debbie.
Debbie says, "Hey, Anne Marie, good to see you." Lots of comments. We see Greg Koss out there. Stephen Miller, what's up, folks? Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us. Courtney,
Hi,
what
Courtney.
is going on? So, yeah, you've got an audience before you, Anne Marie Young.
That's right. Can you see the
And that's
comments,
right.
Anne Marie? Can you see the comments you would
I
ask?
can't. Only the ones that you put up.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
But
That's all right.
no,
I'll watch it later.
that is fantastic. And so, yeah, you were drawn to these things and things that people would say, well, that's kind of witchy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have any generational type witchcraft in your family? Were any of your relatives witches that you're aware of?
Nope. Nope. I believe my grandmother on my dad's side might have. She was like the old wives' tale. If you had any things she knew, and my the other side, no. My mom's side was not.
Well, Doug says no super chats. Well, Doug, actually, if you watch us on the Paralinks Paranormal United Network, they do have a functionality for that. I forget what they call it on Facebook.
Stars. Right?
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give stars, and that supports the network. So
Doug.
thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Appreciate that.
Hi, honey. Love you.
If anybody doesn't get that, that is Anne Marie Young's husband.
Yes. My
Yeah.
other half.
Your better half.
So,
Yeah. And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I had a ghost of my dog in my house for years.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to on your show about one time.
You did?
I do. Yeah, I remember talking to you about the Ghost of the Dog, and it's also an Edie Brickell and New Bohemians record that I really liked when I was younger. Ghost of a Dog. And tell us about yours.
He was an Afghan hound, and my brother Donald, who's passed now, he was an Afghan hound that he had given us. Now, all my other brothers and sisters, they weren't allowed to have pets. My parents didn't want to deal with them, but I'm the baby out of 5. So I was pretty much spoiled. My parents had already been through it all. They knew I was going to do what I was going to do, and I had no fear. I never had fear. I wasn't the girly girl. I was the tomboy in the woods, making forts and making witchcraft soup that I didn't, stews and just collecting stuff. Oh yeah. No idea what I was doing till I got older, and things just started. Synchronicities. The more I awaken, the more synchronicities happen quicker and quicker and quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to see everybody, like your podcast I absolutely love it, and I share it all the time. I hope people, like it and follow it too, because it really helps people, feel comfortable. And that's what I'm about, the love and the humor. I try to make light of all situations. My glass is always half full. The universe always provides.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of that, I've actually got a picture I wanted to share with the audience. I hope you don't mind. Last year, when you were up in New England around October, we all went up together. And I'm going to share that picture now.
There we are.
Our glasses are half full there. We're having a pretty good time.
Oh, yeah.
The Ouija board in the background is part of the art of the place. And I forget the particular.
That was fun.
Or
yeah, it was
something
like that.
It was really good. Really good food. So I just wanted to share that.
It was.
And that's fantastic. So, you had this natural thing. You saw faces. You started drawing things that would later you'd recognize as sigils and elements of protection, and using a pentagram and a circle. This came to you just naturally without really having to be taught. At what point did you start to say, all right, I need to learn more about this and start reading on it and that sort of thing and start studying?
It kind of just landed in my path. I can remember one time walking in a bookstore and a tarot deck fell at my feet. There was nobody around. It was just me. It was Barnes & Noble at the Swansea Mall. They had it all the way in the back section over in the corner in this little area,
Yes,
you
they
know,
did.
and I just happened to be walking and it fell out and it hit my foot. And there was a lady that wasn't that far from me and she giggled and she said, "That's yours. You need to purchase that." And I was like, okay. And I think I was probably 12 or 13 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was introduced to I went to Diamond and we lived in Swansea. And I had a friend that lived right on Meridian Street, right across from, you know, the triangle there,
Mm-hmm.
right next to Diamond. And I stayed with her. And she was a witch. she did, she just, she was just natural, you know, and she knew how I was because I could see stuff in her house and she giggles. She's like, "I'm the only other one that knows that's there." And I'm like, "Oh, but she's fun. She's friendly." There was this little girl that used to be at the top of her stairs all the time. And you could hear her giggling and dropping stuff down the stairs. And she'd do it and I'd look and my friend Karen's mother, Jeannie, would be like, "Oh, you see her too, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, she's a lot of fun." So, yeah.
She was a witch.
So,
Huh? That reminds me of the
yeah,
Monty Python movie, right? Is she a witch? She's a witch. Is she made of
yeah.
wood? Yeah. Does she
And
float?
she did a lot of tarot card readings, but she did it with just regular cards. She would just, you know, she'd get a few drinks to her, and we had a lot of fun.
That's
She
great.
always,
So that's your introduction to divination that way. But you had
yeah,
already been feeling the different energies and those sort of things. And this was a way to like focus those energies into intentional questions and get
yeah,
answers.
Now,
yep. It's just kind of like riding the flow, you know, paying attention to like astrology and numerology and everything all works together. It's all connected.
it's all
We
connected.
are all connected. And
We
the
definitely do.
tree of life, you know, that is that picture that I have all the time. People always joke, you know, comment on my friends and stuff about the tree with all the faces. It's like, oh, it's not just me that sees the faces. You see them too.
See the dragon?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got the pictures, and yeah, and
Right.
I just
dragons and phoenixes and Odin and Freya and just all kinds of energy. You know, I'm giving them names, but they go by many names. It's the same energy.
Right. Right. Now, how about when you're talking about something like the dog that came back to visit, or, you know, the little girl that obviously has passed on to the other side? Is it the same energy to you when a person or creature has moved beyond the veil as it is for somebody that you know personally and is alive and well?
It's a different energy. It's a different vibration.
hmm
You know, it's like I see a lot of things in colors, like auras, and they kind of like blur together, and I feel things more, and then I see them. You know, but it's not like seeing like I see you. It's more in my mind's eye.
Hmm.
yes,
Like I can remember being at my niece's house, and I was sitting there with her, and I kept seeing something moving by this doorknob, and it looked like it felt like a young girl, and that was the energy that it gave. But there was something else with that energy, and I didn't. I was very not knowing.
hmm
You know, I just kind of what I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but actually I did it all right, and I didn't even know it. I was guided. This thing by the end of the night, she lived above a bar by
oh,
a river at a crossroad.
oh, that's very interesting.
Mind you, with the funeral flower shop, also next to the bar, which I used to always joke, you know, get late from the bar, go to a flower shop, you're all set. But
One step. bring the flowers in, and yeah.
Oh,
There you
I just froze. Or you froze?
go.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it's all set.
On our side, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
But her apartment had so much energy, so many ghosts and spirits, and of every sort of species. But I had no idea what all those things meant, like being, the energy of that. I was still new to it. My
Mhm.
daughter was living up in New Hampshire at the time, and I had gone to visit, and I went to my niece's house, and I brought another niece with me from Virginia to go up to New Hampshire, and it had a lot to do with her. They have a cousin that had passed away. She had committed suicide, and this
Sorry.
whole visit had to do with this girl's soul. And she was at that apartment while we were there, and we were talking about it. I can't read anything. I don't got my
Oh,
glasses.
that's okay. I just put in comments that Stephen
Yeah,
mentioned that
cool.
it's crazy not to believe in ghosts. There have been way too many
100%.
occurrences. Completely agree.
Oh yeah, and so many people like they don't want to see it or understand it, and I understand that too.
I can understand
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
want to, and I wish sometimes, like people joke, oh, there's nothing with that Mercury retrograde. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
If you're someone that doesn't, feel energy, you're good. You're all set. But when you
Yes.
feel like everybody else is backwards and everybody's exes is coming back to see them, and the things that are all backwards, your vehicles, your tires, your
Mm.
everything.
I've
You know,
experienced working in technology, and I didn't necessarily believe in it too much myself at the time. And this is years back. And I didn't give it a lot of thought. I'd hear people mention Mercury retrograde, and it wasn't that I didn't believe in ESP or psychic or ghosts or whatever phenomena. I certainly did, but I hadn't really explored that end of things too much with astrology. And I'll be darned, boy, technology and Mercury retrograde do not mix. It is really not the time
It's almost like the full moon, but worse.
to make the
yeah.
critical.
Oh yeah, people like the moon don't do nothing. Does it for you? Oh, I wish I was you. I couldn't sleep
Oh,
for 4 days. 3 hours here, 2 hours here.
So that's really cool.
yeah, it's interesting.
Now I know some of your focuses are on what do you call it, astrology, of course, that I just mentioned, and tarot, and we like both of those things. And how did that come about in particular, and what can you tell us about those forms of divination, if you will?
Well, a lot of times it's, I meditate. I try to find the vibration of what the person's highest good is looking for. People come and they ask all kinds of questions, and they don't want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear what they want to hear,
Right.
and I don't work that way. So I don't do it very often. I feel drawn to certain people. I had like Kelly on my Rising of the Phoenix. She'll
Yes.
just message me out of the blue with a picture or something, and I'll just get right down to it. And she's really good. She's like, we're water. We're both water. We run together very well. She's Cancer. I'm Scorpio. I pay attention to all that stuff. Aries, you're fire.
Chris says too.
Yeah, yeah,
Sagittarius, yes.
yeah. And I pay attention to all that. Sometimes I just know how things are going. But the one thing, everything's always changing. Nothing stays the same. And you either ride the wave or, like I said earlier, you just pay attention to the little things. That's what I like to do.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The little things.
Little things are
Mhm.
important. I think our guides are
very.
always giving us messages, and probably my guides are always pissed at me because I'm not paying attention a lot of times.
It's because you don't want to really
Tell
hear
you,
it. A lot of people don't like to hear it.
They don't. They don't. I
that-
didn't.
yeah.
I'm basically almost just like you with the vibrations and everything. I understand everything you're saying. Yes.
Now, we've had some interesting
Energy.
conversations with you on tarot in the past, and I like to bring some of that back up. If you're doing a tarot spread for somebody, and whatever spread you prefer, Celtic, whatever, you lay things out, and in their future, you see like a two of swords. What does that necessarily mean, or does it even matter?
Well, it depends on what else is with that two of swords. You can't look at one thing straight out. Like the number two, that means something. Like peers, looking for, and then the swords, that is action. You so, but you
Like,
might have another bit. You might have another card. I'm having a blank right now. It's really late.
no,
That's
that's
But
okay.
okay.
yeah,
Always get
everything is connected, and when you throw like the first card, who your card is, who you are. You know, I go most of the time. I go for your past, what the problems were, what you needed to work on to get to where you are right now, and what you need to do right now to work towards your future. And there may be cards in between. I shuffle until the cards jump out. That I'll be talking to somebody while I'm shuffling the cards, and I'll just keep talking with them while I'm shuffling the cards. And 9 out of 10 times, their card, who they are, and what the problem is, jumps right out of the card, right out of the deck.
I
I
think
call them, "Oop, there's a jumper."
you got a jumper. I think what you had mentioned was that the cards a lot of times are more a tool for the person you're reading, so you can just show
Right.
them this kind of means
Yes.
this, and this is why, and you've already gotten the read, and that's
Yeah.
what you're doing while you're talking to them and you're shuffling those cards. You're kind of reading that person and
And
getting
I'm looking at everything, all the little details and all the different cards. Like, are they walking away from something? Are they walking to something? Is there rainbows in there? How many? All these little numbers, and they all, when you look right at it and you see if you look at everything from a big view and not just that one thing, it comes to you quicker.
Sure. So it kind of fills in some of those blanks.
Yes.
And it becomes really obvious. And then you have, I don't want to say proof, but you've got the data right there to say,
Right.
hey, this is
And you
what.
can explain it to them, like this right here. This is one girl, and she's walking away from the castle, so she's moving away. She's done with the past, big things. It's time to move on. Or they're all different, and every person, they come with looking for something, but it's not really. Most of the time, is this person's coming back to me? What can I do? They're looking for a spell. They're looking for, and I don't do that. I
You mean,
answer.
I was going to say, now, when you say you don't do that, you mean you don't talk about like the energy and the spirits around you? Well, if that's the question they ask.
No, it depends on, like, a lot of people want spells, and I try to explain to them, I can give you all the ingredients, but you got to do it yourself.
With the right intent, right?
With the right intent, the best spell or prayer or whatever label you want to give it, it's the same thing. It comes from your heart. Your heart is where we're connected. When you connect your heart with somebody else, that's where we are all connected. So I hope, that's that part of that meditation, that vibe that I try to get. Some people, as soon as I meet them, they just give me this vibe that they just want me to tell them what they want to hear and not what really they need to know. And it upsets a lot of people, but
Now, what are
it
your
is what
thoughts
it is.
on, say, love magic or magic to harm another? Revenge magic. That's
Karma.
Yeah. Laws of attraction I want to use instead of karma. I've learned over the years, karma is not exactly what I thought it was. Karma is from your past life, in past generations, where the law of attraction is what you focus your energy on is what you are going to attract. I don't want no part of that.
No.
Now, if this person is an animal abuser,
Oh,
a
well.
child molester, you can't heal if you can't curse. You know, it
Yeah.
works both the same ways, and it's all, with different intent from the heart for the highest good.
Yeah, yeah. And
Right.
sometimes cursing is sort of like a way of getting through grief and getting your
Yes.
emotions out there and trying to separate them from yourself and focus them into something. And there's a certain health benefit to that, I'm sure.
That's like shadow work, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how
Yes.
do you feel about,
I
say, I mentioned love magic, where, a person tries to make another person fall in love with them? That's another controversy.
Oh, that law of attraction, trying to force somebody out of their own free will
Against
make
their
them
will,
crazy.
to
Yeah,
bind
that's
them
not
to
right.
them, that sort of thing. Like
Oh, yes.
voodoo and certain other magical books. A lot of times everything is open game, and it's like, hey, make you love me as and it is an oil, and that sort of thing. How do
You
you
can't
feel?
do that.
How do you feel about those things?
Free will.
Free will
When you
override.
cross that line, now I've had people try to bind me, and I know that they were trying to bind me. I knew it was them. I followed the vibration and you know, something happened to each and every one of them, like within a matter of 24 hours when I sent that back, that energy that came to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like I was being suffocated, and I could automatically feel who was doing it, why they were doing it. And my guides were like, "Oh, honey, we got this," you know. And within 24 hours, I knew all the people that thought that they were gonna, because I said something, you know, like witch hunts, like the paranormal field. I'm seeing them going through it right now, and it breaks my heart.
Mm.
You
I
know,
understand. I watched the same thing with you today.
I know, and it's like, these people with their egos are, and you know what, the signs right now with the Saturn in retrograde, all these people with egos are being crushed.
I
You
hope
can
so.
see it. They are, and that's why they're fighting out. Miserable people want company,
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with
and
having an ego. But if you use that ego to hurt others or overwhelm them or whatever,
Right.
then you're just not.
balance,
Yeah, balance.
balance. Everything is in balance. White and black is balance. Actually, that's gray, but
Well,
you know what I mean.
I
It's
think
connected.
we all live in shades of gray, really.
Yes.
Nobody's
Mhm.
perfect. Nobody's absolutely dark either, for the most part. There may be some exceptions out there. We can look at politicians, but that's for another show.
Oh,
Oh, don't get me going.
right. Don't get us started.
Yeah, but we do. We live in the gray. We live in those gray areas, and we all have to get along and communicate with each other. What would you recommend a person do if they felt like they were hexed? You mentioned mirroring it back, sending back
Yes.
that. Like, how does a
Well,
person feel about
the energy, how I feel, how I handle it myself. Now, everybody's different. I have not been shown, or nobody has guided me. This is just stuff I've done intuitively by listening to the little voices in my head, which, in fact, that's another show. No, I forgot. Brain freeze, brain cramp.
It's okay. What was the question?
how to send that energy back? You mentioned
yes.
somebody trying to push ill will your way, and you sent that energy
Yeah.
back to them. Like, what do you recommend to somebody who maybe is just watching the show, is not that familiar, how to send that energy back?
Cord cutting. Cord cutting.
Let's talk about that.
When you are attached to somebody, even though you're not around them, you can, if you catch their energy and you know that energy, like you can think about it and you go there in my mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
I understand who people are by how they it's like I don't want to give names, you know. I'm trying to think.
Names,
No
that's
names.
okay.
Right, poppets. You know,
Yes.
Yes.
I have been known to use a potato, cut it up, you know, and I put the intention of whoever it wishes me harm, you know, I want to know who it is. You know, this is who this poppet is, and I'll think of things in my own mind's eye, or bury it. I might stab it. I might freeze it. I might put it in a jar and bury it. You know, along with other herbs. You know, to
Mm-hmm.
or I won't give it any energy at all.
Oh, I like that. Potato is a great way to use it. And when you're talking about when you say pop it, for those who don't know, and of course we're a little witchy too, is that sort of like a voodoo doll, and we're talking about sympathetic magic. That is like creating a having an object in front of you that you are associating with another individual.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, you could certainly make potato salad or potato chips. You know, snack food.
Oh, I wouldn't need it after I'm done with it.
No, you don't need that. Good Lord.
No, there's a crossroad or some little dirt pile because I do love the garden.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're just kind of giving back what they gave you, right? So, you know,
Yeah.
it does sound like you're following the witch's read, if you will, a little bit, but not necessarily to a T. Do you believe in the witch's read and that everything comes back 10 or 7 to 13, depending what you read, 100 times, or do you
I
think
think it depends. I think it depends on what you're messing with. I think it's more with that laws of attraction. You know, how things aren't always bad and good. It's the intent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're looking, I don't like to mess with free will. I don't want to mess with, you know,
That's rush.
some when somebody like is trying to attack other people. I don't want to give it my energy. I'm not going to join the witch hunt like the paranormal. The more you give people energy, that's what they're looking for. They're miserable. Right now, egos are like, I'm really hoping there's consciousness of so many people out there that are feeling connected finally to other people, like watching your show and other podcasts, you know, and we all just need to stand up for each other. And those who are hurting others, they really need to know. Other people need to know the truth. And people are so hiding behind the truth. And the truth will set you free, you know.
That's right. Well, Greg Koss says put him in a smoker at 250 for 5 hours. I
Yeah.
like that. Good.
Pigs.
Yeah.
I know people that got pigs. Goodbye.
Time, fire up that smoker.
I just want baby goats.
Because it might be slightly illegal. I don't know. Depends.
No, but
Maybe we'll put that potato in there instead, right? Instead of the actual person.
I'm sorry, y'all. I am like so tired. I can't even.
Sorry.
It's like yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
You guys, I wish the show would have been on earlier.
You always
I
say
feel
that.
like I'm talking in circles.
You're not. You're not at all.
You're not at all.
You're doing great.
You're not at all.
You look wonderful.
You're doing wonderfully.
Yes.
And I've got my Salem shirt on. Speaking
I know.
of
I
Salem.
I see that.
Mine.
Yes, very
I
much.
had my sweatshirt, but I don't now. This being in the car instead of my garage at home completely threw me off. I had cards, and it's not, Kristen, you stop being sorry for other people.
No, everybody tells me that, but I can't help it.
And I'm gonna I know. But yes, stop being sorry for other people. You're only in charge of you, not them.
Thank you, dear.
I love you, girl.
Thank you, dear. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm a mother. I'm a mother to a lot of people, even not my kids.
That's understandable too. I was going to say, you were saying something about the misery and giving it back and everything, and the drama that people are causing, and a lot of it is social media. Now, back in our day, we didn't really have a lot of social media. But I've noticed since social media has been around, I sometimes don't even want to pick up my phone or look on my computer at this because all I see is pages of drama.
Oh yeah.
And it's ridiculous and a bunch of lies like we were listening to earlier, you and I on that podcast. And yeah, it's just it's too much. People, like you said, misery loves company, and people just, love drama.
They certainly do, and they certainly do within the paranormal field, among others. But I don't know what it is. Paranormal does seem to draw it. Steve Miller says, "I have been to Salem, fascinating place. And it certainly is. And do you like the lore, Ann, of Salem and the martyrs that those folks really became? Not that.
No, that's Quakers. Sorry,
Quakers.
Quakers.
A whole nother subject. I can go on about Quakers.
They
were treated like witches, but the witches that were hung in Salem, truly tragic. What a lot of people know. I mean, we're celebrating something that is sort of a tragic, but it is in light of their sacrifice for being who they wanted to be, right?
Right. I like how I'm having a break here. Celebration of life now.
I love
that.
I
like that. I love that. When they changed that term, I was like, oh, perfect. Why haven't we been saying that for years? That's what it's about. Celebrating their life and who they are and remembering, the good things.
Sure, exactly.
Why this is here, Yeah.
Now, in your bio, you identified yourself as an old soul of the intuitive empath and maybe that of a crone. And what did you mean by that specifically?
It was kind of like labels. Now, when I sent that to you, I had a funny face, laughing face next to it.
Right.
Because
you're just saying witch in a way.
Right. I am who I am, and that's all I need to be. That is really who I am. But when people try to see who somebody is, they can only see you as you are.
That's so true. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yep, I heartily agree with that. I only ask because the crone is also sometimes has negative associations, and you've heard us, of course, talk about things like old hag syndrome and the crone and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It seems to exist
I've had my own experience with the old hag, and let me tell you, I was in the hospital, and that bitch was sitting on my chest, and I called to my guardian angels and guides, and I'm telling you what, that room was flying with spirits, and they all told me to relax and go with it. And I did. I had been being chased by that bitch in the black fucking shadow in the corner, see my friends.
That's
it's okay.
Time and places, and it was because I was not being who I was supposed to be. I was ignoring things and just, at the time it was drugs. I was following stuff, the stupid drugs, and I got out of that, thank God. Angels, guides, Jesus, Mary, all of them. They were all there. They're like, hello, wake up. You need to.
I think that's why she brought up, because of your own behaviors.
I wonder that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I do know that when I finally surrendered to that energy that was literally sitting on my chest, and I just went with it, I seen things and went places that I can't even explain. It was an astral travel that I will never forget, and I can't even explain to other people what happened to me while I was in the hospital.
Wow.
I just kind of knew stuff. It's NDEs. I've had a couple of them. But nothing was like this. And it was like after that, I got home and I was like, what is it with these pictures and these people and the things I see and, why? And this tree that I took a picture of, I literally moved into that house because of that tree.
Because of the tree. She literally
because of the tree. I adopted. I got a bug flying in here now. I literally tried to get the landlord had 2 places for rent, and one had been taken that morning, and the one in the backyard was still open for rent. So I went over to that one, and I didn't like it. I looked at it, got in the backyard, and the other one, there was this big, huge oak tree, and I swear to you, it was like, you're gonna live here. Just hold off. I'm
That
like,
was
okay, I love this tree. It was just the
what you
biggest,
needed to see.
beautiful 200-year-old oak tree. Now, I've always had relationships with trees. I had a best friend that was a willow at a neighbor's house that I used to hide under. Oak trees, just they were like landmines to me. I always knew where I was by where the trees were or the rocks were.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's fascinating. And also, before we go too far, I like that you mentioned you had the astral or lucid dreaming experience tied in with the old hag, because it was the same for me. I had started with the astral, and I was having this massively cool, vivid dream, but it went south, and it was all the same time space, right? So I was having a great time, and then the next thing I know, I'm looking at this crone in a swamp, and I feel like I'm drowning. Now, for me, she wasn't sitting on my chest, but that is the historical record of most people that have that experience, that she is literally sitting on their chest. They feel like they're suffocating, they're choking, they're drowning, and she's trying to kill them. And
my feeling was no fear. Stop
Mhm.
with the fear. The fear is what is, sitting on your chest, to let it go, let the truth fly. That was the feeling, what I got out of the experience. I was suffering from a depression. I'm a diabetic type 1. I was going through a ketone acidosis, wasn't taking care of myself. Just, I was mad at the world. I was supposed to have adopted my niece's daughter, and all kinds of stuff went the wrong way. People said all kinds of stuff. I'm losing my teeth. Said all kinds of stuff about me that, was bothering me.
Mhm.
But I knew exactly what everybody said, who it was that said it, because they were describing themselves and not me.
You're very brave, because and
Yes.
she is extremely frightening when you see her, and you do feel like you're not gonna die. I just wanted to get away from it, get back to my body. I knew I was out of body, and I was trying to get back. It was just all black, and didn't feel like I could breathe, even though I'm not really breathing because I'm in the dream, but it felt like it, and there was a lot of terror involved. And I think it's fascinating because there's hundreds of years of those accounts, and
Yeah.
it's always the crown, and I had never even heard of old hag syndrome or whatever. Didn't know it existed.
Yep.
So it's fascinating to me that something could exist. So people relate it often to like sleep paralysis, and okay,
Yes.
your brain releases chemicals in your body, and you're frozen. It's just some adverse reaction. But why the crone? Why it doesn't
Right.
make any sense
Mm-mm.
to have this
Right.
historic. I certainly wasn't afraid of old women with long pointy noses, but I sure was when I had the experience. And it sounds like
Oh, yeah.
certainly brought about a little terror for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that's such an interesting thing. You mentioned trees.
Yes.
Trees are very interesting in and of themselves. I love trees.
Trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love trees.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
They literally, one of my daughters my youngest daughter, Andrea, was driving home on the bus, and there was a girl behind her that was new to the area. And she had said to my daughter, she's like, I know you're going to think I'm strange, but trees talk to me. And my daughter laughed. She's like, you got to come home and meet my mother. She'll introduce you to this old oak.
That's
Which was
awesome.
the house that I moved into. Because sure enough, like I was saying, when I moved into the house, I hadn't even looked on the inside yet. My kids and my husband, they all know who I am and how I am. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, because we were going to move.
Mm-hmm.
And that tree was loaded with fae. It was the things
Fairies.
that happened in the house, very, it was just crazy. If you weren't accessible to it, people come to the house, and I always made sure everything felt welcome. Kids, I had not just my kids, I had all the neighborhood kids at my house. Were always there. and they could always be who they were and talk to me like didn't matter what race you were or
Sure.
religion. There's a belief in all religions. They're all connected. They just call it something different. But
Right.
it's all the same energy with a different name and a different label. You
A
know,
label.
and I consider myself a crone because, you know, lovely metaphors, being a witch for so many years, you know, and being old, I am all done. The maiden, I'm all done, you know. I'm hitting my crone years and I am enjoying them.
Oh, that is what is most
That's
important.
wonderful. I love that.
I've said on the show before about Tori Amos is an artist I like. She writes this beautiful,
Me too.
but very complex music, starting out in the 90s. And she always credited the music to fairies and the fae. And her most recent record that came out in the last, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, features a song called Listening to Trees. And what is it about? Listening to those trees. And that's the inspiration. The music seems to come from them and not her. And a lot of artists will point to some external form of inspiration that it isn't really them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that sounds very similar to your decision in, you know, choosing where to live. Latrice told you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I knew it, and then the house, like by the time I moved out of that house, I had an understanding of the universe, you know, and just different things because of that tree, just sitting and holding it and just being around it and under it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like going back 200 years, you know, or 2,000 years, even though the tree wasn't that old, you know, it was just an understanding, you know, a vibe, like animism. I think I said that right.
Animism.
You know, animism. That is
Yes.
how I feel with the world, you know, and they really are. And I never understood that other people didn't understand this, you know, and that's fine. But don't, you know, knock the people like us that do.
Well, they are certainly worthy of listening to. Trees are much smarter, and we've talked about them, you know, as you know, like quite a bit, because we didn't know until recently that trees like know their own young, and they communicate through mycelium, which is mushrooms, basically. What that stems from, mushrooms are a fruit of the mycelium, and there are networks of it in people's yards, and they have no idea. They can go on. You can have huge amounts of mycelium. They can span a whole neighborhood, basically, or a block, and one tree can communicate through it, sort of like the internet, you know, and hit the mycelium and send a message to another tree, and they can help guide nutrients to different trees. They know which are which. Fascinating for something that everybody takes for granted and just wants to make lumber of, you know,
and chop down,
pull an apple off of, whatever it is. They're certainly conscious, aware, maybe even intelligent in a way. Just because they don't have a physical brain does not mean they do not think or make decisions. And
I don't know if Doug's not here, still watching or not, but he sent me shopping and on sprees when he had my nephew come out, cut the tree, pieces of the tree that were dead on the tree, just because he knew I would have a fit, you know. But the guy was really good. He did a good job, and you know, the tree limbs the ones that are dead do need to be, you know, trimmed off. But I shit you not, I had a headache. I got a migraine on my way back from Walmart. When they were up there, you know, messing with that tree, I literally, by the time I got home, I just went right up the stairs and went to bed. And when I woke up, that's when I found out that my nephew was there and trimmed the tree while I was gone off to Walmart.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, that's how connected I was to this tree. But you know, I can still feel that tree, even though I don't live at that house anymore, because it's got an energy and a vibration that I can connect to. So I still know it's still there. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel. That's that, you know.
Yeah.
Everything's a vibration.
Absolutely.
Yes, let's talk about that. Now that's a word that perplexed me, and maybe you, Kristen.
It does.
Like early into this stuff, I would read about it, and everybody's talking about these vibrations, and I'd be like, "Well, I'm not vibrating right now. I don't feel this vibration. What does this mean?"
We are all different. Every single one of us and how we feel, we all have our own vibration, and how we're certain people have different colors that they have their own life lessons and things that they have to deal with in this life and understand, to open themselves up. People go around in circles, and all you have to do is, right before you get back to doing the same thing over and over again, just make a change. Make it a spiral, not a circle.
Right. Love that.
Make it a spiral, not a circle. Now, what exactly do you mean by that? When say you're
I
in
mean,
a situation, or you're having a tough time with your job, and the boss is a jerk, and they're making you work overtime, and they don't personally like you, and they're not going to get that promotion. How do you make that spiral a circle, or what have you?
You got to make a change. Things don't change until you do. We all expect something different, but we still do the same thing over and over again. Well, as soon as you make the littlest changes, it's like the butterfly effect. Things just spiral instead of circling. Things just,
so they grow, they spiral rather than repeating the same thing, right? The definition of insanity is to just do the same thing over and over and over.
You're right.
It's not helping you. Yeah. No, I totally agree. We agree with that. Yeah. Let's see here.
I've been conversating with your husband for a little while. He was talking
Oh
about.
boy. Sorry. I love you, honey.
I guess he was going along with the fear and how it feeds people, your fear and your energy, how it feeds spirits and entities and stuff. And are you gonna put that up?
Sure.
Here you go. This is what he says.
It's the only fear is my wife.
Oh yeah.
Pissed.
There you go. That's a good healthy fear, right?
Oh yeah. I scare everybody. Can't help it. And if my words don't say it, my face does.
Exactly. I'm gonna Yep, I'm gonna send you that T-shirt. We're gonna both have one. It says, "If my face doesn't say it, no, what is it? If my mouth doesn't say it, my face will tell you." Yep, and that's the T-shirt we're gonna walk around.
You mentioned helping people a bit a few times in your biography, and we know this about you. What is the value in helping another person?
We don't have to worry about them. When people take care of themselves, other people don't have to worry about them. You're allowed to take care of yourself. You can't change how other people think or feel or say, or all you can do is take care of you, and then you just like in the airplane. When the thing drops down and you can't take care of other people if you're passed out. You have to take care of you, and show others how to take care of them. When somebody sees you grab that and put it on, oh, that's what we do. That's what we do. You can't. You can, bring the horse to the water and it might not drink, whatever that saying is. I'm too tired to think.
It's okay. Leave the horse in the water.
Right. And you can put a seed in someone, but they might not understand it right now, but they might understand it later because they're not ready to understand it. People can only understand what they're ready to hear.
Totally agree with that.
That's right. But do you think there's a value in doing something charitable for somebody else?
Definitely.
There's a yes.
But you know what? Do you do it for other people? Do you have to let other people know that you're doing it? Because if you do, that's for your ego. That's not for...
Exactly. You're doing it for yourself at that point.
Right.
You're doing it for yourself. I don't broadcast. This is the first time in how many years have I been watching this?
4, almost.
Quite some time.
Yeah.
Quite some time.
Right. And I'm not... Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it feels very weird and awesome, but I'm making it through it.
you're tired and you haven't done this in a very long time. So
don't feel weird.
Don't feel weird. And I think
all I was getting to was trying to say that I think there is value in helping other people, and you don't have to brag about it for sure. But
and when they help themselves, they help somebody else. When they know how to do it, when they work on them, it's other people see what you're doing. Words mean nothing. All they are is, how you feel, but not actually how you are.
Exactly. Actions speak much louder than words, of course. But there is a power in there. And I'm going to go as far as to say that even if you don't tell anybody about it, you do kind of do it for yourself because it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good feel good response that you get yourself when you help somebody else, which I think is wonderful, and a lesson that people need to be reminded of sometimes.
Yep, I like to remind people how to spark their own spark. Give them the information, but let them handle it and do it themselves. Because if you enable others, I got somebody popping up on my screen. It's weird.
But yeah, if you enable others, that's
they don't learn to do anything for themselves, and they expect other people. The world is becoming full of narcissists because we are enabling, the bad behaviors because there's nothing we can do about it.
That's right.
Well, yes, we can do something about it. We can point it out and let other people know that it's not right. Truth needs to be spoken a lot more than what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Agree with that.
Absolutely. And truth is not always so subjective. There's some things that are just right and some that are just wrong. And I think most of us could agree with that.
Right.
Greg Koss says, I know Anne Marie is fantastic. I feel her. He feels you. Oh, we love Greg, and I think we're going back on metaphysical crossings pretty soon to do some crazy
I love watching you guys do that Estes method.
That's what I just wrote down. I'm going to bring that up for you.
The Estes method.
Yeah.
Sure. That's where a person is blindfolded and they're listening to a spirit box scanning many radio stations at the same time, and that's all they can hear, and people are asking questions around them and they're trying to answer it. Sometimes on Greg's show, I think we're just trying to reach out to maybe the same spirits, and sometimes those spirits have a conversation in and of themselves, which is fascinating.
And you go into a deep, meditated trance. Just put yourself
in there.
I
know. I can see you. You stop falling over, and Chris has to fix your mic and straighten me up.
That's right. I'm waiting for her to just fall right out of the chair.
Hey,
right out. I'm glad you're watching.
It's interesting. It's very interesting, and I know you would like to do it as well. And are you worried about that channeling a negative spirit? Are you worried about anything about that when you go under?
Not if I have myself in a bubble and I ask for, protection of only allowing certain things in. I'm good.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's basically what we do. And we definitely protect ourselves while we're doing it. And if you've ever watched Greg Koss's show, it's Shadow Hunters.
Shadow Hunters.
It's Metaphysical Crossings is on Wednesday nights, and
I know I was wrong.
That is the where we do the ITC, and Shadow Hours is an interview show that he does on Fridays.
Yeah, and we all do the Estes method, double Estes method, and we channel, and Greg does it as well, really, really well.
I broke out the Gansfeld method on
you
last
did.
one, but
You
I
did
think
the Gansfeld. You look like a frogman.
I look like a frog. I thought that was pretty weird. It was weird to look at. I mean, if you weren't digging the data, at least you could look at me look like a frog, and that was something.
Right. That was cute.
You had to kiss me, and then I became a prince.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay. So, but yeah, if I'd like to have you go under as well. We have to do that with you. To get you all set up over there.
And going back to the ghosts, and I know it's getting late, but what are some of the other, or maybe is there another ghost related phenomena that you occurred, or story you could tell us, as we are a paranormal show?
What about
we certainly love ghosts?
Yeah, the closet with the man on the hanger.
Oh yeah, that was at that house at the crossroads above the bar. Oh yeah. Like I said, it started out as this little girl, and I had asked, I was trying to describe her, and it kind of reminded me of what do you call it? There was something besides the little girl, but I wasn't sure. And then we had it as we were talking to it. We were asking it questions. I asked it to on the hanger. My niece had like a like clothes rack to hang your clothes up on hangers. Instead of like just for drying clothes because she didn't have wasn't using the dryer, because she had a whole bunch of clothes that were all hung up, and there was a space between the clothes. They weren't all touching each other, and it was all somebody keeps popping up on my thing. Sorry about that. I keep losing track. It keeps popping right up in the picture.
No worries.
So
she has to close out and hang to dry.
So yeah, so we're sitting there, and I'm like, now the girl, instead of playing with the hanger, she's playing with this clothes. Let's ask it yes and no questions. So we were asking it different questions like, what is your name? And then I get a feeling, and I'd be like, is your name Sarah? And it started shaking really, really fast. And then it would slow down, and it would stop. And then we'd ask it another question, are you young or are you old? No, are you young first? And it was like shaking. Then I'm like, or are you old? Just to see if it would shake again or what it was, and it stayed still. So then I can't even remember the questions that we had asked it. One niece was freaking out, and the other niece was like all into it. So then while I was there, while we were talking about it, it was the other spirits were coming in like, oh shit, this girl, this woman's doing something here. Here, hello, let's go join this room.
Sure.
Next thing I know, the room was feeling like overcrowded, and I had said something to my nieces, like, something's not feeling right. We need to stop this. We need to end this, and the niece that died, Crystal, she came in the room, and she was telling me stuff, and she was talking to me before all this happened with the bad energy. And we were discussing it between, different things that were going on in her life. And, it was kind of like a closure conversation with my nieces about their cousin that died. And, it was kind of like she's there, an accepting thing, trying to get closure. So they ended up having a lot of closure that night. I was able to talk to her and say things to my niece Misty and my niece Darcy. I wish they were on, because they'd tell you the story. Darcy would. But yeah, it was just one thing after another. And by the end of the night, I was saying that, calling upon Jesus and Mary and Archangel Michael to banish what was holding a bunch of energies in this area, and to let the energies that were left, to go to the light, because they were stuck there. It was like there was this energy that was just, it was enjoying everything that I was bringing in, and I could feel it, like holding the energies there. So by the end of the night, it was like you could feel the difference in her apartment.
Absolutely.
It was like the weirdest thing. Even her husband, who didn't even know what was going on, came out of the bedroom the next day. He's like, feels real weird in here, like relaxing, like the tension, the energy. I don't know how long it lasts, but I did quite the clearing just that night. I don't know. I know she told me it lasted for a while. But yeah, and the funny thing was the dress that it was moving, or the shirt, I don't even remember, because it was like 10 years ago. The next day was flipped around.
Oh, really?
Like the way it wasn't in that same spot. It was like completely flipped around. And when Darcy woke up, she's like, Annie, did you move that? And I'm like, no. And then she's like, Annie, you moved that. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't move the dress, but they were both like, they were the one niece that was kind of freaking out, and the other niece that was, loving it. She loved it.
Yeah.
Right? Like a McDonald's commercial.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. And she worked at McDonald's.
No, we don't.
You,
Go ahead.
you mentioned that particular place a couple of times. Do you think the place itself, there was something about the property that maybe made it, this sort of portal area or, magnet for paranormal activity? Or do you think it was the people living there?
It's the combination, the negativity, the negative energy of living in that area where they were living.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the vibration. There's got to be more singing going on. There's got to be more laughter. There's got to, in order to live there to bring balance, it needs like a complete change. You have to complete, like we had the music blaring, the girls, dancing, banging pots and pans. We're getting rid of shit. These energies need to get the hell out of this apartment. Goodbye. Be done.
So you cleared it. Excuse me. So you cleared the apartment. Now, when you went back, you didn't feel anything else like that? Because that's a lot of energy. I mean, everything you're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, it was not permanent. It was nothing permanent. It was just what was there at the time. Hello. Yeah, it was just what was at that time, what was going on at that time.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people can be as haunted as places, and you wonder about certain
attachment.
Haunted
yes.
places. Really, was it the place or was it the people that lived there? And a lot of times I think, for instance, it is a combination of all those things, factors. I think there can be things, certain properties that for whatever reason can be, I don't know, magnets or portal areas where people report
more energy that
things like
more of the same energy just creates it bigger.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep. Right. And then people themselves can be haunted. So then you throw that all together and you get a real vortex of phenomena.
Yeah.
So that sounds like one of those places. That's been very interesting. Very interesting to discuss. And there it is. It's not nothing people would be able to look up or read about in a book, but you have the experience and it's there. And there are so many places like that. I think pretty much everything's haunted. There are far more dead people than living. And we can talk about the definition of what a ghost is, or why some would remain earthbound, but it still adds up to a lot of spirits.
You still have elementals and different chaotic energy, entities and stuff. So it's not just together. Spirits. It's a lot of things.
And it's all connected. It's all it's the same energy, just different names of different vibrations of different everything.
Now, have you tried to do any kind of paranormal investigation with a recorder, or try to gather data, or is it more just your experience?
I never have. I never have. I was just remembering being at my friend Tammy's apartment upstairs. She lived at her grandparents' house. And we were sitting there talking about her grandparents. And, the night before I could smell his pipe smoke, and I had said something to her. I'm like, I could smell your grandfather up here. I smelled that pipe, that smoke. And she was telling me about something that had happened with her grandmother. She was telling me about something that she knew her grandmother was around. And the room filled with this static electricity that her hair was sticking to like the back of the chair while we were talking about it. And I snapped a picture with my phone, and I see, in this picture, you seen her grandfather. It was a white image, but it was his army haircut. You could see his glasses, his ear, the side profile of him looking at Tammy with her hair up. I remember posting it on Facebook. We were joking, oh, look, there's Tammy's grandpa. I can't find that picture anymore. It's no longer, she don't have it. I don't have it.
Oh,
it's like gone.
It's gone.
And it was funny because she had just called me and asked me for it, like not that long ago, right before when we were going to go to New Hampshire.
Oh,
She was the woman that worked at the hotel that was originally going to stay at. You know, she had just called me and asked me for that picture, and I was like, "Oh, guess what? I need to talk to you."
Wow.
that's crazy.
Synchronicities, connection.
Little
Yeah, she
synchronicity.
asked me for that picture, and I couldn't find it.
Wow, that's crazy that we were talking about that with Greg Koss about spirits wiping out pictures and things that they can manipulate. And
Yeah.
yeah, I hit the table. Stop,
All
please.
right.
We also, it's funny that you said that because you know us, we talk a lot about ITC, and apparently you don't need anything. And we say this a lot. You had just yourself and coat hangers.
I knew it. I could feel it. You know. So I was like, "Oh, I get it." And I do that a lot with pictures, and I do it with other people's pictures too. I have friends that send me pictures, and I'll look at them and I'll see things in them that usually make sense.
Is that called psychometry?
That's more just a read, right? Psychometry would be the
read the pictures.
reading an object and knowing its history, but that's more just like taking a look at somebody and you kind of get a read for the situation. So
you have a nice definition, on Rising of the Phoenix, your page, about animism. I really like that. So if everybody want to know anything about animism, please go to Rising of the Phoenix on Anne-Marie Young's page.
on Facebook.
On Facebook. I'm so sorry.
That's right. Rising of the Phoenix is what you want to search for.
Mhm.
Is that the best way to reach you, Anne-Marie?
Yes.
Yep, it is. That's pretty much. It's a private group because I don't want the drama. I don't want the egos. I don't want, you know, I don't have any, what do you call it, like group warnings and you got to sign and agree and sign the dotted line. You know, I understand why people have them, but I don't. If you cause drama or do anything to harm, I just delete, block.
Yep.
No questions asked. It's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes pretty well.
Page ourselves.
We do.
And we certainly love you. And this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
I love that you're part of my family. So, yeah.
And, I love that you are mine.
It's great. You know, we see you out in the audience all the time. And of course, we know you aside of that. But it's wonderful to actually have you on.
Yes.
And,
you know,
let the other viewers get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah. Everybody, our viewers now know what you look like, who you are.
Right. This is me. I'm on all kinds of paranormal shows, you know, not on the show, but you know what I mean? In the post. I love checking out. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to do good and take care of themselves so nobody else has to worry about them.
That's right.
Excellent. Well, I love that.
Yeah.
And this has been fantastic.
You had so much fun.
Thank you so much. Stand by. We're going to pull you out of the live stream. We'll be right with you. And that's all the time we have for tonight on the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast.
Thank you to everybody.
I want to thank everybody out in the audience. Doug, what's up? We're looking forward to meeting you. And, you know, Greg, of course, Stephen Miller, thank you for joining. Very interesting comments. And we're so happy you guys joined. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we shall see you soon. Bye. Take care.
The picture's so cute.